Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
To be honest, I wonder about the season ticket thing. I really wonder a lot. Because again, story time, we got time. I'm sitting there with these, I just met these folks last night. And I'm saying, I didn't realize really that people like them existed. I'm sure they're looking at me going, there's people like him that exist? They're like, why are you a Cowboys fan? I said, growing up on the farm, we only had 2 channels and we didn't get the NFL. So when I went away to college and got cable TV for the first time, I fell in love with Troy Aikman and the Cowboys in 1990. And they kind of, you know what I mean? And then, and then they're from Chicago originally. So I said, oh, you're Bears fans? And Ethan goes, yeah, I'm obsessed. And he's about my age. And I said, my friend used to coach the Bears. His name's Mark Trestman. You know him? Ethan's like, how do you know Mark Trestman? I'm like, it's a long story. It's a long story. We got time, though. I'll have to come over next weekend. But they're just like, who is this guy? So random. But I said to his dad, Dwayne, the boat captain, they all live down here now, but they're originally from Chicago. I said, how many Dolphins? He's a Dolphins fan. And I said, how many Dolphins games you go to a year? And he's like, maybe a couple. But he goes, it's so expensive. And I'm like, yes. How many of the 69,000 people at Hard Rock Stadium are season ticket holders, and how many only go a couple games a year? Because it is so bloody expensive now.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
How did a young Rod Pedersen get a gig as the radio guy for the Rough Riders and launch a successful 20-year career? The first time they came to me with a job, I turned it down. Well, they hired a guy and he fell on his face. So they came back in 1999. I said, I don't want to do it. And they said, you're doing it. I'm like, I don't know anything about football. I didn't memorize it. I learned it. But it was stressful because I didn't really know football. But I could tell you what a hockey player's thinking. So when I walked away from the Riders, it was like, see ya.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Yes, it is. Yeah, buddy. Welcome to the RP Show. We're back live on Game Plus Television. Start spreading the news. And as usual, WQEE, the key down there in Metro Atlanta. And live streaming on YouTube. Tell all your friends it's going to be a hot day today. I feel the sizzle coming. And I see my dudes writing in already, like Kevin the Medium's up, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed in cold-aired Alberta today. It's hot here. I know you guys don't want to hear that, Moose. We bring him in. He's from the NHL's Bermuda Triangle, where 3 of the top teams in Canada reside, right around where Moose. No, you're in Toronto, actually. So I'm sorry.
It's all good.
What a start! Do you want to tell the world what you're up to? You're out there in Toronto. You're Johnny Toronto for the week. You having fun?
Yeah, we're wheeling and dealing. No, we're having lots of fun. Going to meet with some of our partners. Maybe some new partners. We're going to have a lot of fun out here for the week and get an Eastern Canadian swing. And I'm getting a little feel of your day. Man, you got so much time in the morning when the show doesn't start till noon.
Oh, yeah. I was sitting around at 11 a.m. going, can we get going with this? Yeah, so yeah. But it is what it is. I got a great workout in today. And listen, I'm going for PDQ chicken this afternoon with my guy, Chris Sanford from New York.
All right.
Said he was dodging me. Saw him at the gym this morning. I said, you were dodging me because my Cowboys beat his Jets twice. And so we worked out, and we're going to PDQ chicken today. He's buying. And I said, I'm bringing my appetite, Chris. And he goes, I owe you 2 chicken sandwiches. I'm like, yeah, buddy. So let's go. Can you hit the quick stick show horn, please, Director Jordan? Yeah, Ryan O'Radio, my spirit brother, checking in from Metro Atlanta. He's running the ship at WQEE. The key says, time for another great RP show. Thank you, sir. Coming up today, NHL great Bernie Nicholls and NFL insider Jim Lang. So those are 2 of the guests today. I get everybody's all geeked up with their weekend sports takes. We'll get to yours in a second, but I'm going to roll with the quick 6 show topics here, which include a weekend recap. We want to talk about who is Canada's best NHL team right now. It might have changed We're going to start running a very exciting bracket tomorrow, so hang on for that. CFL buzz, not surprisingly, I was misunderstood by readers and most of the national Canadian media regarding what rumors I'm hearing out there with the CFL. So I'll straighten that out. NFL Week 12 buzz. Local son Mason Nias, who quarterbacked the Saskatchewan Huskies to back-to-back Canadian University Championships, has been officially added to the Rough Riders neg list. We'll talk about what that means. And Canada is out at the World Cup, which means, great, we can all go back to not caring again. So I'll just say this about number one, the weekend recap. Where do I start? Friday night. Seems like a month ago. I was at that playoff high school football game, and I was excited. The Cardinal Gibbons Chiefs got up 10-0 in the first half in their playoff game against American Heritage. You saw the videos and the pictures, Darren, right, of me.
Yeah.
Didn't it look amazing? Like I felt like I was in a movie.
So cool. Watching them walk out onto the field before both teams and just the whole pregame atmosphere, because it started, you were there early, empty stands, quiet stadium, and then the players walk in, the fans filling up. Pretty cool stuff.
It was incredible, and I'm like, you couldn't get another soul in here with a shoehorn there. But I've been around football long enough to know that the 10-0 lead by Cardinal Gibbons came off turnovers by American Heritage. And I'm like, if their coach at halftime says, guys, cut out our mistakes and we'll win this game, the Chiefs are in trouble. And that's exactly what happened. It's unfortunate, but a great season for the Chiefs. But they will be denied a third straight 5A state championship. Saturday night was the Panthers and the Blues. And yes, I did end up at an elevator with Paulina Gretzky. Between the first and second period. I was going from suite level down to the concourse level, and this group of 4 girls, all dressed like it was Saturday night, you know what I mean, got on the elevator with the security guy for the Panthers, who I don't know his name, but he's either a retired cop or a retired defensive tackle. Know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I kind of looked over and I'm like, that girl looks like Paulina Gretzky. Wait a minute, remembered where I was. That is Paulina Gretzky. So, yeah. And then I'm fumbling for my phone, and I'm like, Rod, you can't be that guy. Not in an elevator. You can't. You know what I mean? Can't. So, her and her crew, her posse, got off, and they went down to the front row, whatever section it was, and then watched the second period, and then they hustled back up and left, and I don't know where they went after that. I stopped stalking them after that, but I said to Serena, what's with this American thing of wanting to sit by the glass? I don't understand. We in Canada don't want to sit in the glass. We want to sit up high, see the whole ice. Seems pretty elementary to me, and she said they want to get on TV. So if anybody was watching the Blues and the Panthers, you would have seen Paulina Gretzky and her crew. I didn't get a picture, but yeah, rode in the elevator with her. That was cool. And then Sunday, Dolphins, Texans, it was over at the coin toss, 30-15. It was 30-0 at halftime for the Dolphins, and they let off the gas and won 30-15 over the Houston Texans. So that's my weekend, and you flew out to Toronto. So there's that. Now, to point 2, got the weekend recap out of the way. The Kinsman Tell a Miracle 47 online raffle, by the way, is live. Our number one audience region is Regina and Saskatchewan. So that's where you folks need to buy your tickets. Come on, we got to hit $1 million again for a third straight year. Please, you can do it. Buy your tickets now. The deadline's coming up. Telemiracle5050.com. You only got to be 19 years of age or over and in the province of Saskatchewan physically to buy your tickets at Telemiracle5050.com. You know it's a great cause. You got a little extra change left over still. COVID cash. Can you drop it and support the Kinsman Foundation like we have? That would be great. You see the number there and the toll on the screen. Point 2, Andrei Kuzmenko scored the overtime winner as the Vancouver Canucks earned a 4-3 victory over the San Jose Sharks Sunday. Kyle Burrows, former Pat, and Ilya Mikheyev also scored for the Canucks. While in Chicago, Saku Maenalanen and Pierre-Luc Dubois each scored 2 goals, and Winnipeg handed Chicago its 7th straight loss. Kyle Connor connected for the 3rd straight game and had 2 helpers. Mark Scheifele had his team-leading 11th goal, and Jansen Harkins also scored for the Jets, who are now 13-6-1. And it brings about our poll question today: who is Canada's best NHL team? For our American viewers, yeah, we debate this a lot, just like you guys debate your thing. Who's the best team in the NFC South? that kind of stuff. Well, we debated in Canada who's the best team right now. The Leafs have the better record, but I think the Jets are the better team. And it's for Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center, and I haven't even checked. Do you have a quick smattering of results, Clark, on who that might be? 59% on YouTube are voting for the Winnipeg Jets. And on Twitter, 35% are voting for the Toronto Maple Leafs. So the Flames and the Oilers have dipped a little bit. Kevin, the medium's upset we haven't put the Canucks in the poll. I would say to Kevin, get used to it. But you're the Leafs fan. You're the Leafs fan in the house, Moose. So have I swayed you at all that the Jets might be a better team than Toronto as we sit here today?
Well, yeah, you might be right. I mean, they're trending in the right direction. They're getting great coaching. They're getting engagement from, it feels like, most of that lineup on a nightly basis. They're getting good goaltending again from Connor Hellebuck. And we know he was fired up the other night after, the helmet coming off and that incident. But yeah, the Jets are rolling. And I think that's always a good thing. I'd still probably vote for the Leafs in the poll as of today. They're playing pretty good too, but it's now become a bit of a two-horse race right now. And we know the Flames and Oilers could join that conversation at the drop of a dime.
I looked at the Flames record. They're 500. I'm like, how did this happen? By playing like junk. That's how. John Ohm says, Rod, were you starstruck by being around Paulina Gretzky? A little bit, because I'm used to being around the big name hockey guys and football guys, but not the starlets. This is like Kim Kardashian territory. That's new to me. So I was kind of, you know what I mean? I was kind of like,
yeah.
I'll never forget. That looks like Paulina Gretzky. Wait a minute. You're in Miami. That is Paulina Gretzky. And full disclosure, first thing I'm thinking, where's DJ? But I think he was home parenting. Somebody has to.
Yeah, somebody has to. But isn't it cool that Florida and Miami and the Florida Panthers have now become a celebrity thing to do? We've seen it with, Jeannie Bouchard went to the Panthers games. There's more stars are popping up.
Kodak Black.
Kodak Black. It's now becoming what it feels like the LA Kings were, a number of years ago when they were really good. And you had the Will Ferrells and the movie stars going to LA Kings games. Now it's happening in Miami with the Panthers.
Hey, start spreading the news. I'll be on NHL, Sirius XM, NHL Radio, Tuesday morning, 10:15 a.m. with Scott Laughlin talking about the Florida Panthers and number one pick Connor Bedard, whom Clark pointed out just before our show. Connor Bedard has in 100 junior games notched 176 points. Credit Clark, who saw it on Twitter somewhere, can't remember where, because none of us. Scott Wheeler. Thank you. Who's Scott Wheeler when he's at home? Frank Salazar writes in, says, Rod, do you still have the Cats and the Flames in the final? Because I don't even have them in the playoffs. Yeah, but I was thinking about that the other day. What you people don't seem to understand is that when we sit here and talk about who's the best team, it's who's the best team now. And going into the season, I said the Flames are the best team in the NHL. Let's just consider that they won the Pacific Division. They had 100 points and did a faceplant in the playoffs. Yes, but they're talent-wise and grit-wise better than last year. So as of today, I'm saying the Winnipeg Jets are the best team in Canada. I'm not saying they're going to the Stanley Cup final. I think that what's felled them the last couple of years is going to fell them again. But as we sit here right now, they're the number one team. And why would I move off Calgary and Florida in the Stanley Cup final? Dude, it's not even December yet. Allie's checked in from Texarkana. The Snowman's checked in from Indiana. How about that? They all love what we talk about here on the RP show. I see Glenn Erickson in medicine hat referring to the World Cup. We'll get to it. Hold on to your bingo cards. This is me and Moose time. We haven't seen each other for 3 days. We're brought to you in part by Edo Japan. Delicious Japanese-inspired meals and snacks made to order with high-quality ingredients. On the way, NFL, Rough Riders talk, World Cup, but this Canadian Football League buzz. You got to understand something. You would think guys in the national media, and I might be a little too defensive because I feel like they're always coming after me. Maybe, Moose, that's because they are. But in my Sunday column, I said, this is what the insiders are saying to me. And just so you know, what the former coaches and players talk about is not what the fans talk about. Never has. Like, we're going to start tomorrow, maybe later today, with an NHL reverse retro jersey bracket because I've had enough of people arguing over which retro jerseys are the best. Like at the Panthers game Saturday night, the Panthers were wearing the baby blue. What did they call it? Palms and pucks or something like that is what they call that jersey. They're selling a ton of them. And people are writing into my Facebook saying, those things are hideous. No, I got weak in the knees. But some of these jerseys, the Canucks retro, sorry, Kevin, the medium, I'm like, I get nauseous. So can we, but if you listen to NHL radio, which I'll be on tomorrow with Scott Laughlin, or if you listen to NFL radio with our boy Zay, they don't talk about the damn jerseys. They don't care. They don't care what days the games are, unless it's a short week. You know what I mean? So my point is I'm trying to get into what the fans talk about because it's not what the insiders talk about. So a guy's talking to a guy the other night. I'm not going to say where because you guys will guess. And we were talking about where Bo Levi Mitchell is going to sign. And what that former coach said to me was, let's just say he's in a southern U.S. state. He's like, guys like Bo Rod, they sign for the most money. They don't care as much about the O-line because it sucks in Saskatchewan, or the coaching staff is a question mark. We didn't even know who the offensive coordinator is going to be. They sign for the most money, and they figure they'll sort it all out later. Sort of like Aaron Rodgers did with the Packers, and Russell Wilson coming to the Denver Broncos, and Kyler Murray getting all that money in Arizona. Bo, players like him go for the most money. And people, and I might have written it incorrectly too. I might have not communicated it properly, but it's not that Bo's necessarily looking for the biggest price tag, but players of his stature do. Do you see the difference, Moose? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I see it. I mean, it's got to be a right fit, and you know, everybody has a different set of objectives. But when you see trends and you see lots of players of that stature, you know, going after the big payday, then yeah, I mean, Bo was in this position before when him and Mike Riley both took huge contracts and made waves for the Canadian Football League. So it's not new for Bo to go after the money. I guess the question will be, what motivates Bo right now? He's coming off a down year. People are writing him off. Does he want to be in the best position to win and have personal success? Or does he want to capitalize financially while he still can? If that window's closing, then his earning years are dwindling as well. So it could go either way for Bo. It's up to him what he wants to do.
And to the Sask media that's poo-pooing this and saying it's not accurate, you'd better hope that he goes to the highest bidder, because of all the teams that'll be trying to sign Bo, Sask's probably in the worst spot talent-wise, and he doesn't even know who the offensive coordinator is going to be. But, you know, people are saying that's not accurate. I strongly disagree with what Rod said. I don't care what you think. And I said off the top in the column, don't hold me to this. This is just what the guys are saying. The guys that I talk to that are, what I would call football gods in a way. Well, the gods are the guys that have passed away. These guys are on their way to being that. And you know who they are because I tell you who they are, Darren, but they're retired coaches that sit back and they know how things go. And they talk to the players. So we'll be back. We got NFL, U Sports, World Cup on the docket, and back maybe on our playoff bracket. Well, it is a playoff bracket for retro reverse jerseys. We'll be back in a moment. Back on Game Plus TV today, YouTube Live and WQEE 99.1 FM.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might fracture your wrist, resulting in a lifetime of painful arthritis. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Casino fancy.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital GMC. Reserve your brand new truck or SUV today. Check out our great selection of in-stock GM certified pre-owned trucks. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital GMC, making back to busy easy.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Raj Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Okay, welcome back. Gorgeous day in South Florida. I want to tell you that our NHL coverage and CFL coverage is brought to you daily by our friends at Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Hiring now. Find out everything you need to know about Bronco at broncoplumbing.com and our Facebook and Instagram pages. Last I talked to Cameron, the owner and proprietor, boss over there, Bronco. He was in Mexico. Somebody want to tell me if he's back and he's twisting wrenches or if he's still enjoying the sunshine. The Moose is with us, Darren Moose Dupont. I do have to make a post here. And actually, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share WQEE's Facebook post and put in the Listen Live link for those that, because I got this a lot in Sask when I was back, and you were with me hip to hip almost for the whole week. Really miss you, Rod. Really miss listening to you, Rod. I'm like, you can listen every day, bro. We're live on WQEE. Thanks
Every
to my
day.
brother Ryan. Ryan O'Radio. So let's get with it. I'm going to post a link here right now. You don't miss me that much if you didn't care to find out where I am. You know what I mean? So yeah. I'm gonna read a couple NFL headlines before we get back to the CFL stuff, and I'm gonna hand it off to you, and then I'm gonna make this post. So Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers left in the third quarter of a 40-33 loss to the Philadelphia Eagles with injured ribs Sunday night. Rodgers already played the last several weeks with a broken right thumb. He appeared to be in pain on his final drive of the game. It ended in a Packers field goal. They are 4-8, Green Bay. Mathematically still alive. The big question coming out of Green Bay and what we're getting on American television today is, should he be sat down the rest of the way? Again, 4-8. And the Indianapolis Colts tonight take on the Pittsburgh Steelers on Monday Night Football. The Colts are coming off a tight 17-16 loss to the NFL best Philadelphia Eagles and are 1-1 under their new coach, Jeff Saturday. I just stuffed this in on Friday and then moved on to something else, but I thought it was funny. Jimmy Johnson was on WQAM down here, one of the 3 sports radio stations, all sports stations there, just ripping, not Jeff Saturday. It's not Jeff Saturday's fault he got hired as head coach of the Indianapolis Colts, despite never coaching a down of football in it. But Jimmy was on there saying it was an insult to coaching. And it is. It just is. It's nice to be like Jimmy's in his 70s. And you talk to people in the Florida Keys, that's where he lives. They see him running down the overseas highway every day with his iPod strapped on his arm. What a life! And just go on the road go on the radio. Well, go on the road every weekend to do NFL Sunday, but on Fox, just doesn't care. I hit that at like age 46. I hit that at age 46. I don't care what you think. I'm just going to say it is awesome, by the way. It's awesome. But it reminds me of the night we retired Jordan Eberle's jersey in Regina with the Pats. God bless Ebbs, but with the Seattle Kraken now, but he didn't have a junior career with the Pats worthy of retiring his number. The number's going up to the rafters, and Ebbs turns to me and he's like, I don't feel like I deserve it. I'm like, you didn't do anything wrong. So just smile and enjoy it. And there's reasons why that thing's being raised that you don't even understand. Jordan, you're too young. Just enjoy it. Same thing with Jeff Saturday. You just go coach the team. Not your fault. So, should Aaron Rodgers be sat down, and why did your Titans lose to the Bengals? You want to tell us, Governor, while I do this post?
Yeah, I'll do my best because I watched both those games actually from start to finish. And, with the Titans losing to the Bengals, it was a tough one. The biggest reason they lost to the Bengals is they went into the red zone 3 times and only came away with 6 points. The Titans have notoriously all year been one of the better red zone teams in terms of converting into touchdowns in the league. They've been one of the top teams in the league. And then against the Cincinnati Bengals, they got to settle for field goals and missed 1, made 2, and you end up losing that football game. That was the real difference in the football. But they played, toe-to-toe with Cincinnati. Tennessee is still they've moved in to be a top 10 team in the NFL right now. And they continue to get better. Treylon Burks has now proven that he can be a number 1 receiver. So that's positive. And then for Aaron Rodgers, I don't know, because at the end of the day, if you're Green Bay, you had a slow start. You gave up a ton of rushing yards, over 300 rushing yards in that football game. I think it was like 350 to Philadelphia. And Aaron Rodgers still gives you the best chance to win. But man, Jordan Love actually looked like the player Packers want him to be and think that he is. He looked good. He threw it precise. He ran. He moved the pocket. He kept that defense off balance. He did a lot of things well. So if you don't think you can make the playoffs, hand the keys over to Jordan Love for the rest of the year. See what you have. I don't think it's a bad move.
All right. Thank you, Moose. Nice work.
Thank you.
There is sweat running down my brow. Can you believe this? I know you guys feel sorry for me.
Every day.
From the viewers, James in Borden, Manitoba. When we lost TSN 1290 radio, the RP show was the first sports show I found to fill a void. Never looked back. Thank you, James. And I know I tick you off from time to time because you tell me. But that's okay. We used to have that intro that said, I want to make you feel something. I want to make you happy. I want to make you cry. I want to get you mad. When you're listening to your local radio or watching television, you ask me if what you're watching makes you feel something. It's rare these days. Used to be pretty common. From John looking forward to listening to Rod on NHL Network. Not as much as I am, man. I'm a huge fan. I can't wait. 10:15 a.m. Eastern, Tuesday. I'll be on with Scott Laughlin talking Florida Panthers. Allie in Texarkana says, can I ask something since I'm still a newbie? Why does Rod call Darren Moose? And Kevin the Medium jumped on it, and he said because there was a hockey player named Moose DuPont. But let me just drop anchor for a second before we come back around to World Cup. You met a teammate of Moose DuPont's by the name of Joe Watson at the Centennial Cup last year. What did he tell you about Moose DuPont?
Oh, man. And you were sitting there, weren't you, when he was talking about him?
I was there, but I wasn't listening. I was watching a hockey game.
Oh, man. He just looked at me. He's like, I don't know if you're like the Moose, because the Moose was angry all the time, and he was tough. He's like, you seem like a nice guy. You seem like a nice guy. I don't think you'll fit the nickname the Moose like he did. But penalty minutes leader, angry, mean, and obviously embodied what the Broad Street Bullies were in the 70s.
Sprinkling in viewer comments as we go from Don Mitchell. Navy Don says, finding your show, Rod. Some folks think that if it's not on cable TV, it doesn't exist. They haven't figured out the internet, and they can listen to anyone, anywhere. It's a people problem. It's a them problem, not an RP problem. But we are on cable television, Game Plus TV, but whatever. They will find us. Furthermore, because the people really do love the stories. The other night, I'm in the press box at FLA Live Arena. I think after I was hanging out with Paulina Gretzky. And the usher that runs the press box, we got talking, and I asked what it was. I said, I saw Paulina Gretzky down there. And he's like, well, Wayne might be here. He was here last weekend. He goes, of course, the Oilers were here then. He goes, you know, he's 51, the usher of the press box at FLA Live Arena. And he goes, I've met just about everybody I want. He goes, Bobby Orr came to every single game. Joe Watson, your Joe Watson story made me think of Bobby Orr, right?
Yeah.
What a character, Joe Watson. He goes, Bobby Orr was my best man at my wedding. I said, why'd you get Bobby Orr? Well, I needed somebody. Anyways, the usher in the press box goes, Bobby Orr came to every single game. He sat in that seat right there at the end. He lives up in Jupiter, and he's Aaron Ekblad's agent, so he'd come watch. But ever since COVID, Bobby hasn't been back. He goes, but I met him, and he goes, I'm from Boston, so it was a big thrill. He goes, the only guy I haven't met is Mario Lemieux. He's the only guy. Then I will have met everybody. Pretty cool, eh? So hopefully cool. Bobby Orr is there some night that I'm there, but I'm going to every game, and it's awesome. New York Fries is a proud member of the Calgary community, and to give back, they're hosting free public skating opportunities at ice rinks around Calgary, open to families and the general public in support of Kids Sport Calgary. Visit FamilySkateYYC.com for a full list of times and locations presented by New York Fries. Point 5, Mason Nias has been added to the Rough Riders negotiation list. I guess they have not announced it via press release. You would think with news like this, they would be trumpeting it everywhere. But just before we went to air today, it's not on their website. Justin Dunk at 3downnation.com, I believe you know him, broke the story that Mason Nias is on the neg list. And that's a big deal. That's eventually on the way to signing Mason Nias, who quarterbacked the Saskatchewan Huskies to back-to-back appearances in the Vanier Cup. And more than anything, can Mason play or not? We're going to find out because he's going to sign. I will bet you for sure by the end of the week, maybe by the end of the day, the Rough Riders will have signed Mason Nias. So his university career ended on Saturday with a loss in the national championship. But look at this. The next door opens with him going to pro football with the Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Whether he can play or not, Darren, you would know better than me at the pro level. We'll find out come training camp. That's how I see this playing out. Have I read it wrong?
No, and he's got a lot of the tools that will translate to the next level. I've gotten to know Mason really, really well. And obviously, we cover their games and we cover the entire university football season very, very closely and call a lot of their games. And I've spent a lot of time with Mason. There's things that you see that make you successful at the pro level. One of them is being able to read and study defenses and watch film. And there are not many players, and I don't know if there's any that I've come across in my time calling games and the conversations I've had that watch film as much as Mason Nias does. His ability to articulate to us in our pregame prep calls about what defenses are going to do, what he's seen on film. It's just remarkable to me. So that's checkbox number one. He puts in the work and balances a crazy schedule to do it. Number two is he's got the arm. You even look at that game. He was playing with a really young group of receivers in Saskatchewan this year. Really the only fifth year starting in that group on offense. So he was playing with young receivers, and the ball always seems to be in the right spot. Whether they come up with the catch or not is a different story, but he always seems to put the ball in really good spots, and he protects it as well. He threw one interception, that Vanier Cup, but it was a deflected ball. He protects it, doesn't throw a lot of interceptions, and is very smart. He doesn't have a ton of athletic ability to run around like crazy, but he's just so agile at just escaping the pocket. He's not Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers, but he almost feels like it, where he's not going to run a whole lot, but he's just smart. And I think he'll have success at the next level if he gets the opportunity.
Quantum leap from Canadian University football to the Canadian Football League, but it starts with getting a chance and opening the door in training camp. So I expect that will happen within the next few days. He'll sign with the Riders. And point 6, Alphonso Davies scored Canada's first ever goal in men's World Cup competition during a 4-1 loss to Croatia on Sunday. The loss means Canada will not make it to the knockout round. So I guess it's like they say it was a thrill just to get there. Didn't expect to win. We now know how Latvia feels at the World Juniors. We know how they feel. And some of those other countries suck. Moose, we'll talk more about that and whatever else comes up in hour 2. Gotcha?
Sounds good. You bet.
All right. Bernie Nicholls in next. Is that the deal? Awesome. We'll be right back with Broadway Bernie Nicholls. It's the RP Show. Game Plus Television, YouTube Live, and on the radio, WQEE 99.1 FM.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital Ford Lincoln. We have a great selection of brand new F-150s in stock. Drive it off the lot today. Reserve an incoming unit or pre-order the perfect vehicle for you. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital Ford Lincoln, making back to busy easy.
People donate blood for moments like this.
But there are lots of reasons why Canada's Lifeline needs donors every day.
Like the fact that someone with leukemia can need up to 8 units of blood a week.
Or that donated blood lasts no longer than 42 days.
Or to help new moms and babies, like Henry.
There's lots of reasons to donate blood. That's why we need donors every day.
The need for blood is constant. Join Toyota and our Toyota dealers in supporting Canada's Lifeline.
Smoky in the air, that's a lot of time. Big time, big time, big time, big time. Big time. Big time.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might injure your back in a way that causes nerve damage or partial loss of mobility. Take safer steps with WorkSafeSask.ca.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Brand new week of sports talk, and we'll be talking hockey here. There were, 5 games in the NHL on Sunday. The Jets won at Chicago 7-2. The Vancouver Canucks beat San Jose 4-3 in overtime in the Shark Tank. Senators won at LA 3-2 in overtime. Those were all on the road, and tonight there are 6, including the Florida Panthers at the Edmonton Oilers, and I'll be talking about the game tomorrow morning, 10:15 a.m., Sirius XM NHL Radio with Scott Laughlin. Tune in for that. But I'm very interested to bring in Bernie Nicholls, the inventor of the pumpernickel, Broadway Bernie, to talk NHL hockey. How you doing, Bern? Sounds like you had an interesting couple weeks. What have you been up to?
Well, we've been doing a lot of hunting up here, Rod. Cold, we're getting some snow. I want to come down where you're at and start playing golf again.
Anytime. You have standing invitation down here, Bernie. Our question today, our poll question is, who is the best NHL team in Canada? Based on points, it's the Leafs. But Winnipeg's really on fire. 13-6-1, which not a lot of us saw coming. Who do you think is the best team in Canada today?
You know, probably Toronto. But, you know, I've always said when you got Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, they would probably be the team that you would least want to face in a playoff series, just because when you got the greatest player in the world, Mario Lemieux always said that about Sid, right? When you got Sidney Crosby on your team, you always have a chance to win. And I feel the same with Edmonton. Toronto on paper looks like they're the best, and for the most part, they probably are. I know even when they lost some defensemen, they're still getting wins. I think their goalies played really well for them. It's nice to see Winnipeg turn around a little bit. You know, Vancouver's turned a corner, I think, and starting to win. So, but I think probably Edmonton just because of Connor McDavid.
Isn't that interesting? And they've been middling without Evander Kane. I want to ask you this, though, because with Kane, they're a juggernaut. But without him, they've struggled. They were down 3-0 at the Rangers the other day. I watched that whole game. I'm not sure if you did. Came back and won miraculously 4-3.
Yes.
But doesn't it feel like if McDavid and Draisaitl don't score, they can't win? For the most part, that's been the case without Kane.
Well, it is. And that's a big part, right, of your team. Like he adds that toughness. He brings the best out of the other players as well. With Edmonton, it's still going to come down to goaltending. If they get good goaltending, they got a chance to win. That's with any team, right? Like if you got a good goalie, you always have a chance to win. I always said that when I played in New Jersey with Marty Brodeur. We just knew we were going to win every night because of Marty. Obviously, we didn't, but the team, they just feel that. So with Edmonton, it still comes down to goaltending. You know, for Kane, he's going to be out a couple months still. But if he's ready to roll by playoff time, he'll be well rested. So he'll be, and they'll probably add to their team too. So I still think they're still the most dangerous team.
How do you feel about Connor McDavid killing penalties? I couldn't believe my eyes on Saturday, and people tell me he's been doing it for a month. How do you feel about your Stars doing that?
Absolutely. Gretzky killed penalties his whole career, him and Yuri Curry. I killed penalties with Gret. You know, I think it's different now. You don't have the guys that want to spots. When you got Connor McDavid out there, do you know what your power play's thinking? For one, he knows what they're thinking, so he knows where to go. But as a like a lot of teams now, they have the one forward on defense, go 4 forwards and 1 defenseman. Well, what are you thinking if you're the forward on defense, and then you see Connor McDavid getting the puck? I know what a defenseman's thinking. I don't know what the heck the forward's going to think, but he's not going to like it. So I love the idea that he's playing. You know what? Your best players got to play the most, and you got to get them out there any chance you can. I know if you watch Toronto, if they run into a lot of penalties, well, Matthews is sitting on the bench, and I don't know how you can ever have your best player sitting on the bench for a long length of time. So I love the idea Connor kills penalties.
Well, when you talk about that, I get it now. There's nobody faster, so if he turned over a puck at the blue line, he's gone. He'd have a breakaway. I get that. But in junior, where I spent 1,300 games, the guys killing penalties were the rookies, the fourth-line guys, because they weren't going to play otherwise. And I didn't have a problem with that. Is that the difference between junior and NHL, do you think? Or did we have it wrong?
Yeah. No, I think junior has it wrong. I killed penalties in junior. I killed penalties in pros, but I would block shots. I enjoyed getting in front of the puck, sliding and blocking them. You don't want Connor anywhere near that, but he doesn't have to. All you got to do is get your positioning. If you go out in front of the defenseman, he's not going to shoot it because he can't shoot it through you, and he doesn't want to run the risk of hitting him and then the puck going forward because he's not going to catch him. So I love the idea. A lot of teams will have their better players kill. So that's where it's at. For Toronto, they should look into getting Matthews out more, and that would be one way of doing it.
I'm glad I asked. Hey, we got a couple minutes here. I want to ask your thoughts on coaching. You were in LA a long time, and I know Barry Melrose took you guys to the Stanley Cup final. I don't know who was there when Wayne came. Was that Tom Webster? Who was the best coach you ever played for, let alone in LA?
Well, Robbie Fittori was our coach when Wayne got there. And then something happened with Robbie, and they brought in Tom Webster. He didn't last long, rightly so. And then Barry Melrose took over there. My favorite coach was Pat Quinn. Pat reminded me a lot of my dad. Pat was a big burly man. He intimidated the hell out of you just because he was so big, but he treated me great. I love Pat to death. So in LA, probably my best coach was Pat. New Jersey, Jacques Lemaire was unbelievable, and Daryl Sutter was great as well.
Okay, my 2 last questions for you, and people writing in with interesting comments. Allie in Texarkana says, I think it's a great idea. You want your best players playing as much as possible. Sure, but Connor's playing 30 minutes a game. It's not like he's got to worry about his ice time. John in Winnipeg says, Bernie's new book is From Floodlights to Bright Lights. How's that going, Bern?
It's going great. What's cool about it is, right, just the name of it will kind of tells basically the whole story, right? I come from a little town of 75 people. I grew up playing outside. My dad would have a little ice rink. We'd have floodlights. The little school where I went to school in my hometown, we had floodlights out there. I go from 75 people to the bright lights of Los Angeles, 10 million people. So going good. I think people are enjoying it. All the feedback I've been getting, and I tell people a lot of it's from my cousins and family, so they have to say it's good, but I think it's really good. It was written well, and I think people enjoy it.
And have you had a chance to watch Winning Time yet, the documentary on the Lakers that we talked about?
I have not, but
Okay.
It is on my list. I got Yellowstone coming again right now, so but I am going to watch it. I've seen highlights of it, and like I said, I know the players in it. I was good friends with Jerry Buss, his whole family, and the players. I used to watch Lakers all the time in the early 80s, so I've been there for their good time. So I'll be able to see it, and I'll understand the whole thing.
I'm waiting for your review on this show. No rush, but maybe over the Christmas holidays you'll have some time to stream it. Bernie, thanks for this,
Absolutely.
man. It was worth the wait. Appreciate you, man. Have a great week.
Rod, good seeing you again, bud. Talk to you later.
As always, thank you. NHL great and Bet Regal NHL ambassador Bernie Nicholls. You can purchase his book just in time for Christmas. Order it now, and you'll get it in time for Christmas at BernieNichols.com. We'll be right back. It's the RP Show on Game Plus Television. We're live streaming on YouTube and WQEE The Key 99.1 FM.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might fracture your wrist, resulting in a lifetime of painful arthritis. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
beat. I gotta hit the beat. Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Casino fancy.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital Ford Lincoln. We have a great selection of brand new F-150s in stock. Drive it off the lot today. Reserve an incoming unit or pre-order the perfect vehicle for you. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital Ford Lincoln, making back to busy easy.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
It is the segment of the show we affectionately call Viewer Takeover. And before I get into the viewer comments, I'm going to read a sports update. And you can always pick up the phone and text RP. That's Rod Pedersen. 902-518-3033. Breaking news on this Monday, the Canadian Elite Basketball League and the league champion Hamilton Honey Badgers announced today that due to the closure of Hamilton's First Ontario Centre During the 2024-25 CEBL seasons, while arena renovations occur, the Honey Badgers are permanently relocating to Brampton, Ontario, in time to begin play for the 2023 season. It's formerly Cops Coliseum, okay, for you people that are old enough, like me, you people that are, where the 1987 Canada Cup was played, remember? Mario Lemieux! They're gone. The Hamilton Honey Badgers are moving to Brampton permanently. From the Dub. In Calgary, Hunter Mayo capped a 2-goal effort with the game-winning goal at 3:51 of overtime as the Red Deer Rebels narrowly edged the Calgary Hitmen 3-2. In Langley, BC, Ty Thorpe scored 2 goals, one a shorty, as Vancouver handed Portland its second straight loss 3-1. In Kennewick, Washington, Lucas Dragicevic scored the eventual winner as Tri-City edged Seattle 4-3. In Spokane, Austin Roost recorded a hat trick and 1 assist as Everett pummeled Spokane 9-3. Who owned the Chief? And in Medicine Hat, Sloan Stanek notched 2 goals and 1 helper, and Prince Albert downed the Tigers 4-2. The Toronto Raptors host the Cleveland Cavaliers in a battle of Eastern Conference rivals in the NBA Monday. Toronto is coming off a win over the Dallas Mavericks Saturday that saw OG Anunoby and Fred VanVleet each score 26 points. The Hawks are at Philadelphia tonight in a battle of 11 and 9 teams. Here come the Hawks, and they need to pick it up. They weren't very good against the Miami Heat last night. I watched it. What are we making that Atlanta roadie anyways? What do you say, Ryan O'Radio? Is there any time that works best for you? This sports update is for Edo Japan. From hand-rolled sushi to bento box meals made with her famous teriyaki sauce, Edo Japan's menu has something for everyone. And by the way, the Kinsman Telemiracle 47 online 50/50 raffle is live now. Go to telemiracle5050.com right now to buy tickets. You can brighten somebody's life. Pay it forward. We do it every year. Over $1 million has been raised just through this 50/50 online raffle. Again, it's perfect for us to market for them because we're online in a way too. Telemiracle5050.com. Buy your tickets. We'll make the draw on Friday, December 16th. And all funds go to support the work of Kinsman Foundation in Saskatchewan. Don't delay. Get yours today. I'm going to have to... bring this up next hour with Moose. Back, Jeff Caldwell's watching in Redmond, Oregon right now. He says, I live in Oregon, and I don't care about the jerseys. Hashtag Go Beavers. Massive rivalry weekend in college football. Moose's team, the Blue, went into OSU and stomped the Buckeyes at the Horseshoe. Last minute of play in hour 1. It is unbelievable. Listen, I watched the Georgia Tech game for those listening in Georgia right now, as if the Yellow Jackets were even going to win the game. Garbage day over here. Stetson Bennett was a stud, a dog, again. It's a lot to keep on top of. And there was a firing just down the road here. Willie Taggart was let go by the Florida Atlantic University Owls. They lost to fall out of contention to play in the Boca Raton Bowl. Right after the game, they rung him up. That's big boy football. Sean in Vancouver, John in Edmonton. We'll get to all of your comments. Actually, we don't have time here because they're rolling the music. So stick around. The Moose rejoins in hour 2, and we'll talk about what you want to talk about here on Game Plus and WQEE. Hang on after this short break.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might injure your back in a way that causes nerve damage or partial loss of mobility. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca.
Easy snacking all around. something everyone can love.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital GMC. Reserve your brand new truck or SUV today. Check out our great selection of in-stock GM certified pre-owned trucks and make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital GMC, making back to busy easy.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
How did a young Rod Pedersen get a gig as the radio guy for the Rough Riders and launch a successful 20-year career? The first time they came to me with a job, I turned it down. Well, they hired a guy and he fell on his face. So they came back in 1999. I said, I don't want to do it. And they said, you're doing it. I'm like, I don't know anything about football. I didn't memorize it. I learned it. But it was stressful because I didn't really know football. But I could tell you what a hockey player's thinking. So when I walked away from the Riders, it was like, see ya.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show. It's hour 2. We're coming in hot. It's your favorite daytime sports and entertainment talk show. We have a plethora of NHL questions and comments coming in from our viewers. We'll get to those. Some leftovers from the weekend. Don't we love the leftovers, particularly U.S. Thanksgiving leftovers? And let's bring in the Moose right now. He is not in the NHL's Bermuda Triangle. He is in the center of the world. Tirana, Ontario. And you got your hair looking good? You dabbed some shoe polish on it. It looks like you got some color in it, Moose, do you?
I did. Hey? Yeah, got it all crimped and proper. And, you know, it little different than being back home. So I had to just step it up a little bit.
I get you. Good for you. Good for you. And say hey to all my friends out and about on your travels today,
They're all
if you don't mind. By the way, I'm sure. All 2 of them. Hey, before we go any further, the go-to in the DuPont house. I know that this will not resonate with the Canadian viewers, but with the U.S. viewers it will. We're coming out of U.S. Thanksgiving. Amazing supper at Christy and Ethan's on Thursday night. I recounted that on Friday's show. I want to say sweet potato, however you want to do it. Casserole, pie. I had both. That's the go-to for me. You got to have it all. But what? Let's leave turkey out of it. What's the one side or dish at Thanksgiving that just wouldn't be the same if you didn't have it, in your opinion?
This is easy. Easy. It is pierogies with mushroom sauce. So mom makes these, she makes her homemade pierogies. I think she said she's actually making another batch this week and freezing them. And then she makes this mushroom sauce where she cooks the mushrooms down all afternoon. It's a heavy cream sauce from scratch, and you pour it over the pierogies, and it is, if we don't have it at Christmas and Thanksgiving and Easter, the meal is ruined. So, slam dunk.
I'll expect my invite. And I got to dust off I haven't cooked for quite some time, but I'm feeling the pressure because everybody around me can cook. So I got a few specialties too. And by the way, they were asking me when I got storm stayed, the Floridians were asking me, how was your trip to Canada? And I said, well, I got storm stayed at my brother's. You know, I hit a patch of ice. I hit the ditch. No damage to the vehicle, thankfully, but I had to spend some time with my brother a couple days. And I never told you this. I went to Walmart in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, and I bought a do-it-yourself football Sunday snack kit. And it was Tostito scoops, stag chili, and, some cheese, Tex-Mex cheese. I get to my brother's. He's like, oh, you can have that yourself. I don't eat chili. I'm like, who doesn't eat chili? You psycho.
How about that?
A farmer?
And
rancher?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And his wife goes, well, there might be a kidney bean in it. So he won't eat it. I'm like,
oh, no.
Kidney beans aren't from actual kidneys, Lee. They're just shaped like kidneys. They're beans. Won't eat it. Won't touch it. Can you? Psycho.
Okay.
So,
but
yeah.
I'll sympathize with your brother a little bit because when I was younger, mom would make chili like that and she puts kidney beans. I would pick them out, the kidney beans, because I thought they were bad. And it's only now, as an adult, I eat them like they just taste like beans. They're just beans. They're just different shape.
Yeah. John says, Rod, you must be able to barbecue in Florida, dude. Yeah, but I don't have a range or a grill. And that is on the list. That's on the list of things to buy. There's just so many other things that have come up, and yeah, I have. So that is my specialty, and it's cool. Our poll question today for Capital Auto Mall is, which is Canada's best NHL team today? Clark, can you tell me what they're saying on YouTube? It was the Jets at one time, right? Has it changed? 53% saying on YouTube it's the Winnipeg Jets, Toronto number 2. That's not a shock. Edmonton and Calgary kind of hit the skids of late. Really loving the hockey talk here on the RP show. And hey, I'll get to your question. I said there was a ton that have come in. Jim Lang's coming up the next segment. For some reason, this is where my brain gets overloaded every day on this show. Right at this time, you could set your watch by it. We were saying starting tomorrow, we're going to start a bracket challenge that will run us probably for the next couple months for the best NHL retro reverse jersey, because I've had enough belly aching from people about who's are great and who's are bad. And like I say, the real sports people don't even talk about this stuff, but I get that the fans do. So I'll allow it. I'm on record as saying the LA Kings is the best. White base with the crown and gold and purple trim. What's your favorite retro reverse, Darren? You can include your own team if you want, but who is it?
Yeah, I actually think it's the Leafs for me. I really like it.
You can't say your own team. You can't say your own team.
Oh, I thought you just said I could say the Leafs. But,
I did say you could. I changed my mind.
Hot take.
That's okay. That's okay. There's so many that I like. I'm a big fan of Vancouver's. I know you're not.
Pick
I'm a
one.
big fan of theirs. So I'm going to go with Vancouver's and the Johnny Canuck.
You.
Hot damn.
I'm a fan.
Good for you. But that just shows you the difference in our tastes.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, I like the glitz and you like that's kind of a plain jersey. You have to admit.
It is. Classic.
Yeah.
Plain. Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. Fair. We'll come around to Saturday's Vanier Cup, and what the heck was the final? 30-24? Is that what it ended up, I think?
Yeah, I believe that was the
30-24.
final score in that game, yeah.
Allie in Texas says Darren's hair is always on point, which but I'm sure whoever gets tired of getting compliments.
Thank you,
So,
Allie.
yeah, she's pointing that out. B. Henderson writes in and says, Rod, what's your take on Hellebuck getting run the other night? Rod, what's your take on that Dallas goal Friday with Helly down and out without a mask? Well, this is my opinion, and that's not to say it's right. He was leaning out of the net, following the play, if you will, and the forward come around and hit him and knocked his what are you asking? That the penalty, it should have been a penalty, or that it was dirty? Because it wasn't technically in the crease. And I'm always going to stand up for the goalies, but I'm assuming you saw the clip. Darren had to have run ad nauseum on Canadian television. It was not intentional. There's no way it was intentional. 2, I don't like the rule, and referees that are watching, you tell me if I think they don't blow the play dead immediately if a goalie loses his mask, which is atrocious. It's hideous. That's the devil came up with that rule. But in that situation, there was no intent. Spit happens, and I don't mind a goalie getting hit once in a while if he's outside the crease. That's just, I don't think they should go outside the crease. And I know he wasn't going out to play the puck. He was leaning outside, but it was an incidental spit happens play. Spit happened.
Yeah. No, it was.
What do you think?
And I think the issue, and Hellebuck came out and talked about it and was very eloquent with it, and it's causing a lot of debate. Well, not really a lot of debate, but just bringing it up. It's about the whistle being blown. I think the goaltender interference is a separate conversation. And I think it's about the whistle being blown. Hellebuck said, you know what? If the motion continues, like if the helmet comes off and the motion continues, like the shot is in motion, the puck goes in the net, okay. But if it doesn't, blow the play dead immediately and stop play. They allowed play to continue. The puck ended up in the net, and it probably should have been blown dead because the goaltender didn't have his helmet on. That's a problem. And I think we're on the same page there.
We are. But Derek Richards writes in. Derek Richards says, that's the issue. No mask. Stop the play. Hang on. I'm trying to... the questions are all over the place here. The rule, as I understand it, is that if a goalie loses his mask, the play continues. And that's what happened. So that's what I saw what happened the other night. So they called it by the book. If it needs to be changed, which I'd like to see it changed, it's ridiculous to think that a goalie should have to play without his mask if it gets knocked off. But that's the rule. And we could go around and around and around on this for days. It really bothers me when this comes up because I don't like talking about officiating because there's human error, A, and B, the way some of these rules are written are dumb to begin with. So I don't think they got it wrong. In any case, I don't. Imagine if the Jets had lost, my God, there'd be a riot. At least they won the game. Switching gears, by the way, Jeff in Oregon says, I live in Oregon and I don't care about the jerseys. I read that earlier. You probably saw that. What a big game involving Oregon on the weekend. From Sean in BC, he says, great Vanier Cup. Who was that play-by-play guy? Quote, like a linebacker on a cheeseburger was his best comment of the broadcast. LOL. We do have quite a few comments have come in about that. So this is for our U.S. viewers and audience and listeners. This is the Canadian Football Championship. They televise one game a year on national television. Correct, Darren? I don't even think the Mitchell Bowl and UTEC Bowl were on Sportsnet. Just one game a year of university football is on national television. It's the Vanier Cup. At least they got one. And we all watched it, and it was a tremendous football game in London, Ontario. And I believe it was 30-24. Laval, which is Quebec City, beat the Saskatchewan Huskies. My best friend's son quarterbacks the Saskatchewan Huskies. Soul-crushing. Back-to-back losses in the national championship for the Saskatchewan Huskies. They played a good enough game, but they made too many mistakes, probably more mistakes than Laval did. That's one. Number two, Mark Lee, who's a really good friend of mine, called the game, and I thought he did a tremendous job. If you noticed, his voice was shot, was gone, and I'm like, this guy used to do Hockey Night in Canada, Grey Cups, did them all. Now he does bull riding, and I don't know what else he does. And he just a really iconic delivery, great play-by-play guy. We're watching the game, and I said, CBC, they didn't forget how to do football. They made it look really good, don't you? Like the game was good.
Yeah.
The telecast was amazing. Why they don't do more, I don't know.
And I say this too, when play-by-play happens, it's not as much about the details of the game and getting everything right all the time. Sometimes it's about the voice and the personality. And when Mark Lee comes on the broadcast, it instantly adds this national credibility to the game, to the broadcast, this familiarity, and people take notice. And all of a sudden, university football is a bigger deal in Canada because he's on the call with that Olympic, CBC, CFL, Hockey Night in Canada voice. That stuff matters. And he did a great job.
From Dave, texting in on the 902 line in Niagara Falls, Ontario, says, first-time watcher. Very nice interview with Bernie. I will definitely keep watching. Love the CFL and the Maple Leafs.
How about that?
I got to spend a minute. Darren sent me the top 10. Thank you. Yeah, Darren sent me the list of top 10 cities by region for viewership and listenership of the program. I didn't put it in my weekend column, but I will because I don't think it'll change, Darren, over the next week. Thank you for sending that. What the Canadian viewers come for here, they tell me, is what he just said, right? NHL talk and CFL talk. And what I'm getting from the U.S. viewers is they listen. So we're on the radio in Georgia. We're airing out of South Florida. Believe me, they've got the Bulldogs and the Yellow Jackets and the Hurricanes covered. It's covered. You know what I mean? They don't need these two idiots yammering on about the same stuff everybody else here is talking about. You know what I mean? It's different. So they really love the NHL talk here on this program, which incidentally tonight, for all those that have just tuned in for hour 2, here are your games. Toronto at Detroit just makes me salivate. It gives me tingles in the National Hockey League. Toronto at it still does. This is still a special thing, isn't it? Which reminds me, you talk about Mark Lee's voice. I got it just before we left Calgary. And incidentally, we spent half our time in Calgary, Alberta, doing the show from the Grey Eagle Resort and Casino, live, before a live audience. And people there have said to me just near the end, it took us a long time to get people aware of what we were doing. People were walking up to me going, you got a great show. You bring on broadcasters. They speak well. They have something to say. They're riveting. And I'm thinking, that's how this show stands apart from the others, because we still bring on broadcasters. We don't just grab somebody and throw them on the air because it's that easy. Which in America they don't do. They have all the inclusive diversity hirings, but they're good. A lot of Canadian networks can't say that. And that's where I think this show stands out in a lot of ways. Tonight, Vegas at Columbus, also in the National Hockey League. We'll come back around on those jerseys, too, reverse retro jerseys. New Jersey Devils are at the Rangers. Some of these reverse retros, I'm like, did you even try with a design? Tampa Bay at Buffalo. Dallas, there's our hot. They're at the Blues. I don't like the Blues. I turned them on the other day. I thought I was watching Sweden.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with Sweden, but when I was at my brother's farmhouse the other day, I was rifling through his kitchen cabinets trying to make myself a coffee and saw all my dad's old Dallas Stars mugs with that old logo on it.
Cool.
And I was like, oh, man, how do I get this back to Florida? I didn't, okay? I didn't. And Florida at Edmonton tonight, and I'll be staying up to watch that game now. I really have a reason, because I'll be on NHL Radio tomorrow, Sirius XM NHL Radio, talking about the Florida Panthers. Hashtag time to hunt. Monday Night Football tonight. It's the Steelers at the Colts. NBA, Atlanta Hawks. Here come the Hawks at Philadelphia. Battle of 11 and 9 teams. And the Raptors are home to Cleveland. Moose, I understand you're out, so you enjoy. You go have a great Toronto day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.
You bet. Enjoy your day.
The Moose is in Toronto. We're in South Florida. When we come back, we'll be talking NFL with our foremost NFL expert, Jim Clubber Lang. It's the RP Show. We are live on Game Plus Television. If you're a new viewer, Send us a note, 902-518-3033. If you're a new listener in Georgia, send us a note on that number, 902-518-3033. We're also live on YouTube and the key, WQEE 99.1 FM.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
I gotta hit the beat.
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might injure your back in a way that causes nerve damage or partial loss of mobility. Take safer steps with WorkSafeSask.ca.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Golf, Hawaii, and the Four Seasons. Imagine picking up your clubs and feeling like a pro for one whole week in paradise. Well, you can get that chance this December with 5-star accommodations, a 3-day tournament at a championship course, and loads of VIP experiences. The Pro Leisure Golf Tour is going to make you feel like a pro, even if your golf game doesn't. So whether you're looking to grab your golfing buddies for a tropical getaway or just wanting to find an exclusive VIP experience to take part in, the PLGT is perfect for you.
Have you subscribed to the Rod?
Oh, they are dancing in the streets here in South Florida. Maybe not specifically there in the Florida Keys, but the Dolphins, big winners over the Houston Texans, 30-15. And the Dolphins are on a roll in a playoff spot as we sit here right now. By the way, we're just talking, bringing in our viewers. Where the heck is it? Rylan in Seattle writes in. He says, I come here for the NHL and WHL talk. Why I always show up. You guys always do great. Thank you, Rylan in Seattle. I appreciate that. Let's open here with Jim Lang, our good and longtime friend. He is such a great dude. Hey, Jimbo, what's up, brother? How was your weekend?
My weekend was great, Rod. Thank you for asking. And before we get into the NFL, but can I say something about the Vanier Cup that has bothered me for years as a fan of sports in Canada, a promoter of Canadian sports, and a broadcaster. How come I can bet in every sport in the world, around the world, on ProLine and all the betting apps? I cannot bet in the Vanier Cup. I can't bet on the Canadian University Championship. I can't bet on the Memorial Cup, and I cannot bet on the Brier. Why is that?
I thought the exact same thing. Specifically about the Vanier Cup. Yeah.
Because in Canadian television and radio, for your viewers and listeners who don't understand, we have strict rules about CanCon in this country. You have to broadcast so much of your day. It has to be Canadian content or you're not allowed to broadcast. So how is it that all these betting apps and ProLine, a Canadian betting organization, can just put European, international, and American sports on there, and you can't bet on some of the biggest Canadian sporting events? I've never understood how they could get away with that.
Well, we will put this to our exclusive betting partner, Bet Regal. I know that you can bet on major junior hockey at Bet Regal, and I never thought about laying bets for the Memorial Cup. So we will look into it, absolutely. And listen, Bet Regal would be more than happy to turn a portion of the proceeds to U Sports. Believe me, they would. And what a fantastic broadcasting game. Like I say, CBC knows how to do football. They haven't forgotten, Jim. That was a great telecast from London.
Well, I mean, and Mark Lee, I mean, you and I both know him. He's been doing it for, over 35 years. I mean, he played CIS football, and he was a quarterback once upon a time. But, he's done it all. He's what you call a professional. And when you have a professional broadcast and professional announcers, all of a sudden people look at, the Vanier Cup and the production values and go, oh, that's big time. Yeah, of course it's big time, because if you give it a big time production, you get big time results. And I guess from a sports fan and sports broadcasting point of view, I just think as a nation, we need to invest a little money into our own product, whether it's women's sports, male sports, amateur, pro. Not enough of it. It's too much of it is, let's just pay the lowest price, get a darts competition or an NCAA Division III football game, and it's cheaper, and let's throw it on the air, and that's our content. Well, that's not good enough.
Yeah, well, you understand too, though, this business, that as our business people will tell you with the RP show, the sponsors are like NFL. They don't, you know what I mean? They don't want to spend the money on the amateur stuff. It's just a fact.
I get it. I guess it bothers me because I see what NCAA sports and the relationship with the NCAA, which is not always great, but the organization and the networks and radio and television and broadcasting. And I'm never going to suggest that it should be at that level, but we should have a little bit of it in Canada. Like except for, like you said, except for the one game, it doesn't exist.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So to Monday Night Football, and I loved Jimmy Johnson was on the radio down here last week, not ripping, but criticizing the hiring of Jeff Saturday. His Colts are up against the Steelers tonight. The Colts 1-1 under Jeff Saturday. Never coached it down before replacing Frank Wright in Indianapolis. How do you feel about that whole situation and how it may unfold?
I understand why Jim Irsay would do it because of his longstanding relationship with Jeff Saturday. And Jeff Saturday already was like a consultant to Jim Irsay throughout the season. But think about Jimmy Johnson's path to the NFL. A graduate assistant out of Arkansas. So basically barely making enough to feed himself as a coach, working long hours, and then working along the way, all these different stops. So before he even started coaching in the NFL, the Dallas Cowboys, he had coached well over 20 years at every level, at a position coach, a coordinator, a head coach, and had proven himself time and time again. And you heard Bill Cowher's emotional speech on CBS Sports NFL, because you think about the coaches. There are the unsung heroes of sports, especially assistant coaches, and they toil away in obscurity for years and years and years to get a chance to be a coordinator, and then hopefully become like a Robert Saleh, who's become an up-and-coming head coach with the Jets. But that takes years of paying your dues. So I think in the coaching fraternity, they're like, are you kidding me? Jeff Saturday just walked off there. I mean, even Doug Pedersen, the coach of the Jags, when he left the NFL, he paid his dues as an assistant, working his way up before he became a head coach. He wasn't just handed a head coaching job.
Yeah, Well, listen, I get it. And by the way, Corey is watching in Tallahassee, Florida from the Hockey Club podcast, and he says, Jim Lang, such a great guest. And Arlen Bruce is chiming in with his thoughts on Patrick Mahomes as the MVP. I think we would all agree with that. But just, you mentioned Doug Pedersen and the Jags. Henry Burris is the quarterback's coach with the Jaguars. Look what Trevor Lawrence is doing. You can't tell me Henry hasn't done great things. And I'm sure that with Trevor Lawrence, and I'm sure there's a lot of coaches going, damn it, Henry walked right off the field and into that job. CFL coaches especially. But I would say this. Life sucks. It's hard. Wear a helmet. Nobody cares.
Hey, all I know is the proof is in the pudding in Jacksonville and what Doug Pedersen's building with his coaching staff with a guy like Henry Burris and what Trevor Lawrence has done. He's done a 180. He was on his way to becoming a Jamarcus Russell the year before under the debacle of the coaching staff. And it shows you the impact of a head coach and a good coordinator. And you've seen what's happened with Trevor Lawrence and his confidence and the plays they've made. If you understand, like, I'm still a believer, all the X's and O's and all the professionalism, there is a bond in a locker room in football, in sports, with coaches and players that is beyond money and fame and all that. And if you look at the reaction to the Jaguars and Doug Pedersen and how that team and the coaches and players reacted to that win yesterday, you understand that it's more than just money at that point. It's the competition, it's playing, it's that brotherhood and all those people, like from the equipment staff and everything, working together, putting in the hours, and then getting results they did. And like the Jags are like they're making steps. And yet Trevor Lawrence wasn't as good as he was in the NCAA by accident. He's a special talent, and now he's got the coaches and people around him to groom him and make him good. I mean, Henry Burris was with the Chicago Bears once upon a time. Henry Burris has been in pro sports for a long time and pro football for a long time, and has been around some great coaches and coordinators. So I'm sure he's learned a thing or two. And I know Henry Burris well enough to say that he's a smart man who has probably absorbed everything like a sponge and is imparting it on Trevor Lawrence. I mean, the Jags are one of those teams they're going to probably pick up a few more wins this year, but going into the offseason, another draft, another free agency, and Doug Pedersen building what he has, then you start looking at them in 2023 going, the Jags are going to be a team I don't think a lot of people want to play.
Yeah. And, well, in the case of Henry Burris, he would be successful at anything he put his mind to.
Anything.
That's just the kind of guy that Henry is. I'm going to have to push the viewer comments to the next segment, although Arlen Bruce checks in every day, and I love him. You know, AB, I think you called his games with the Argos.
I did.
He's like, ARP show, great morning. I have Patrick Mahomes for MVP, Chiefs in the Super Bowl. He says, also, football should be played on grass. In my opinion, all pro football stadiums should have grass fields only. You know, well, I believe I know why they don't. How do you feel about that comment from AB?
First of all, AB is what you call a consummate professional in football. If more teams had guys like AB, they'd be more successful because of the way he approached the game on and off the field. Because that's just the kind of guy he was. There's not an accident why he had the career he is. Patrick Mahomes right now, to me, is the MVP. I mean, it's been phenomenal what he's done this year with the Chiefs. But the grass thing, of course, in a perfect world, they would. But these stadiums are used for so many different things. And they've turned field turf into the new grass. And they've tried to sell that. It's not AstroTurf. It's not grass, but it's durable and doesn't get chewed up as much. And I know with in coaches talk about U.S. Thanksgiving, and that's when real football starts. But that's when the real nasty weather starts with rain and snow and sleet and mud. And those fields get chewed up horribly. And this way, there's less damage to the field and less chance of players getting hurt, quite frankly, when a field gets that muddy and that chewed up. So I mean, if everyone played in Tampa and everyone played in some of those climates like Arizona, where it has the field that slides out, it would be grass. But I mean, Dallas has got field turf. I mean, because it makes sense for their stadium. And a lot of stadiums, just because of maintenance costs and everything, that's what they've done. And unfortunately, the players often suffer for it.
I believe it's 90% maintenance costs, 10%. They've done the studies and said there are less injuries on field turf, although I think that's coming around and changed. I think those numbers were skewed because more fields now have them. There's now more injuries on them. Paul Jefferson watching on YouTube says, quote of the day, life sucks, wear a helmet. It's not mine. It came from one of our sponsors, Cam from Bronco Plumbing and Heating. It's his. Tell him, folks, we're talking about him. Hey, Jim's staying with us for 2 segments, and I appreciate that. In the time we have left here, which is 3 minutes, how about these Atlanta Falcons? Every team in the NFC South has a losing record. Every team.
Yeah.
Who do you think will win it? And are the Falcons better than even they'd hoped or planned to be this year?
Well, if I'm an Atlanta Falcons fan and I see what Arthur Smith has done with my team, I'm like, finally, I have a team with an identity. They play tougher football than they're used to. Atlanta, their big problem for years was they got flashy offense, they got great skilled players, but they're just not a mentally, physically tough team. Look at the 28-3 loss in the Super Bowl as Exhibit A. And Arthur Smith is building something. Now, full credit to what is happening with Ron Rivera and the Washington Commanders for winning that game. That's not being talked about enough, what Ron Rivera's done with the Commanders this year. So no shame in losing to them. But the Falcons, I've been so impressed with them. Like, that's one of those teams, again, it used to be, Atlanta, they may beat us, but we're not going to be beat up physically. This year, you're going to get beat up. And if you're going to beat them, you're going to pay a stiff price. And right now in the NFC South, it is such a mess, especially with Tom Brady, the Buccaneers losing in Cleveland, that Jacoby Brissett in overtime and the Browns yesterday. It is kind of wide open. And it's not a slam dunk that the Buccaneers are going to win the division at all. And if you're Arthur Smith and the Falcons, you probably are saying, guys, why not us? I mean, why not? And I just think I look at Atlanta like I look at the Jaguars. Like it's a team that's building towards something that they're realistically, they're not going to do anything this year. But again, you look at what they have as a foundation this year, go into the offseason, draft around what you have, and look at free agency like you have. And then next year, it all bets off, because who knows what's happening with Brady in the offseason or the Buccaneers. And to me, the NFC South is completely wide open this year and next year.
Absolutely. Jim's nice enough to stick with us for one more segment. So any questions you have for him, NFL, Leafs, we can talk a little Argos, whatever you want, fire them at us in the break. We'll be right back. Thanks, Jim. It's the RP Show. We are live on Game Plus television across all 10 provinces and 31 states. YouTube live and on the radio in Metro Atlanta, WQEE 99.1 FM.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpedersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpedersenshop.com.
Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital Ford Lincoln. We have a great selection of brand new F-150s in stock. Drive it off the lot today. Reserve an incoming unit or pre-order the perfect vehicle for you. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital Ford Lincoln, making back to busy easy.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might injure your knee, leading to joint damage or even a permanent disability. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca.
People donate blood for moments like this.
But there are lots of reasons why Canada's Lifeline needs donors every day.
Like the fact that someone with leukemia can need up to 8 units of blood a week.
Or that donated blood lasts no longer than 42 days.
Or to help new moms and babies, like Henry.
There's lots of reasons to donate blood. That's why we need donors every day.
The need for blood is constant. Join Toyota and our Toyota dealers in supporting Canada's Lifeline.
Golf, Hawaii, and the Four Seasons. Imagine picking up your clubs and feeling like a pro for one whole week in paradise. Well, you can get that chance this December with 5-star accommodations, a 3-day tournament at a championship course, and loads of VIP experiences. The Pro Leisure Golf Tour is going to make you feel like a pro, even if your golf game doesn't. So whether you're looking to grab your golfing buddies for a tropical getaway or just wanting to find an exclusive VIP experience to take part in, the PLGT is perfect for you.
You can reach us at 902-518-3033. Canada's foremost NFL expert, Jim Lang, is with us today, and there are a ton of questions for Jim. A lot of them, well, they do refer to the National Hockey League and our poll question today for Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center, and it is, who is Canada's best NHL team right now? Maybe before I delve back into viewer questions, how would you answer that, Jim? Can you take your Leafs cap off for a second and look at it? Or do you think it is the Leafs, the number one team in Canada right now? Statistically, they are.
Yeah, it's funny, there's so much hand-wringing about the Leafs and Leafs Nation and so much stress and anxiety, but every once in a while someone has to be pointed out, like, look at their record. They got 13 wins, and they are missing their top 3 defensemen. And I still think Calgary is a special hockey team, and before all is said and done, they're probably going to be dangerous in the second half. I still don't know why Edmonton, with all that talent, can't be a consistent winner. To me, it's a major disappointment. I like to see Winnipeg doing well. It's good for hockey to me, Winnipeg doing well. But look at if the Leafs had at least one of their top 3 defensemen back, they'd be even better. They lost their top 3 defensemen and have gone on a bit of a winning streak. And Sheldon Keefe and Kyle Dubas are under a lot of pressure in Toronto to finally do something. But there's been a lot of silence about the naysayers when, after the news about Morgan Riley's knee injury, and he's gone a minimum 10 games, and then they win 3 games in a row. So, hey, they're doing something right. It can be argued whether the best Canadian team in the NHL. I kind of think they're not, but they're awfully close, and they're playing very respectable. I wish they had more cap room, and I'm sure Kyle Dubas does, because they're very limited on what they can do. But maybe by the deadline, they'll have enough room to make a move, and they definitely need a defenseman come the deadline.
There are a lot of questions and comments have come in here from junior hockey enthusiasts about Connor Bedard and the top prospects for this upcoming draft. And what do you have thoughts? Well, we can address that here. If I was going to push it to the next segment. Do you have thoughts on that?
Every time I see a Connor Bedard highlight, I'm like, this is unnatural. This is like something we saw with Connor McDavid and Sidney Crosby. This is once every 10-year type of play. And it's not just the production and the numbers, it's the style and the way he scores the goals and the way he goes about playing hockey. He's a generational player. And I know they created the draft lottery to prevent tanking, because if they didn't have the draft lottery, there's a half dozen teams in NHL that would be dressing a glorified beer league team so they could get Connor Bedard, because he's that good.
He is. He's unbelievable. You got to see him live. But the question is Todd in Red Deer. He goes, I know that Connor Bedard's the clear-cut number 1. Is there a big drop-off to number 2? He might go number 1. Go ahead.
I don't know. Yeah, I've spent a lot of time studying Connor Bedard. I can't honestly answer that question to your viewer, because I don't know.
It's fine.
I honestly don't know.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Matvey Mishkov. If you haven't heard the name, you will. Out of Russia. He wasn't able to play in the World Juniors last year because Russia wasn't in the World Juniors. He's right there. They're like each other's nemesis. They've had a battle for years, even though they're only 17. And then Adam Fantilli, I don't mind saying who it is. My brother keeps sending me highlights of Adam Fantilli from the University of Michigan, who is an American-born player. And he's like, Bedard better watch out. This kid is breathing down his neck. Adam Fantilli from Michigan. And then Zach Benson, who's like, if I love Bedard, I really, really, really love Zach Benson. He's been on this show. He's scoring the game winners every night for Winnipeg in multi-goal games. So this is an unbelievable draft this year for the National Hockey League. It's in Nashville, and I feel like we should probably be at it with the RP show. And obviously, I've been following Connor's career since he was 14. Is the first time that he was on this show. Derek Richards writes in, he says, wherever Bedard goes, that team won't have a supporting talent to make that team good. That's true, but you gotta start somewhere. Look at the Penguins. That's how they get the number 1 overall pick. They were terrible. The Oilers were terrible when they got McDavid. The Leafs were bad when they got Matthews. The Penguins were bad when they got Sidney Crosby. Do you not agree, Jim?
That's sports. I mean, that's how teams are rebuilt. And every pro sport, you want your top pick to rebuild. That is how a pro sports team rebounds from the basement to try to become a championship / playoff caliber team is you draft well. It's up to the team. Like, you've lost, you've got the right to draft first, second, or third. It's up to you and your staff to scout properly and make the proper pick. So if you draft well, then you're going to bear the fruits of your rewards because you're drafted well. That's like in any sport. So absolutely. And I think history has shown teams that historically draft poorly are bad teams. I mean, I'm a Raiders fan. It was a great win yesterday, but in the last 10 years, there are I think only one of their top number 1 picks, one of their first round draft picks actually stayed a few years. The rest of them were all bust. I mean, that's part of the problem with the Raiders. You're drafting your first round pick and they can't even become a regular starter in the NFL. That you can't win in any sport when that kind of drafting has happened. And if you look at, and I love looking back at old drafts, Rod, in other sports, you can see teams that draft historically well are really good. And for years, everyone talked about the Red Wings. What did they do? They spent a lot of money scouting in Finland and Sweden and Russia and drafted a ton of great players from those areas and built through the draft. And those were all 4th, 5th, 6th round draft picks, those European picks, and they all turned out to be legends of the game.
The best teams have the best owners that understand the product is the players. So the money goes into the scouting because if you don't have good scouting, then you don't have good players and you don't have anything. And I'll never forget the Golden State Warriors owner. I don't know his name, but before they drafted Steph Curry and Draymond Green, you might have seen this clip, Jim. He was out at center court in Golden State in Oakland or San Francisco, wherever it is, addressing the crowd and apologizing for how bad they were. And there was so much garbage pelting him that he got like forced off the floor. Do you remember that? And then they end up drafting Chicago Blackhawks. Where were they before Patrick Kane, Jonathan Taves, although they all drafted high-end picks?
Before they drafted Taves and Kane, they were drawing 8,000-9,000 a night in an 19,000 seat arena. That's where they were. And they were not on local TV. So you couldn't watch them on local TV in the Chicago area, and you could get a ticket like when you bought groceries. So then they drafted a couple Hall of Fame caliber players and built around them, and they started winning Stanley Cups. You can't get a ticket in Chicago. What a shock! I mean that's that's been part of the problem for a lot of teams that you wonder why a certain team, insert name here, why do they struggle? How come they can never play well, and how come they don't win? Look at their drafts and look at their player personnel. If you can't find players, whether it's through the draft or through free agency at a good price and get the talent, you can't win. To me, the 49ers in the NFL are a great example. They have drafted well. Nick Bosa, great draft pick. They went and got Christian McCaffrey as a trade. And the 49ers are scary good. They've given up 10 points in 2 weeks. They've won 4 games in a row. Kyle Shanahan has to feel good about himself. And I don't know anyone that wants to play the 49ers in the NFC. That is a potentially dangerous team going to the end of the season into the postseason.
Last question. Why do they keep trying to push Jimmy Garoppolo off the field for Trey Lance? I know they can't now because Trey's hurt, but why?
I go back to they traded up for Trey Lance. They spent all the time and money researching, like, this is the future. And I think there's a face-saving aspect to this, Rod, where they basically mortgage their future and put their chips in. So Trey Lance is going to be the next, insert the name here, but we've seen no evidence that Trey Lance is Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson. There's been no evidence of that, or Josh Allen. I mean, so Jimmy Garoppolo, for all his faults, will play good enough to keep you in the game, do what Kyle Shanahan says. They've got a great defense. They've got some great talent, and they find ways to win. You can win if you have a decent quarterback when the rest of the team around you is that well coached and that talented. And we're seeing that in San Francisco with the 49ers right now. But, I mean, Trey Lance has got a long way to go, a long way, before you can even mention his name into any of the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL. So why they keep trying to push him out, I don't know, Rod, but I think it's the fact that they've invested so much in the Trey Lance and they're trying to make sure to prove that, hey, we were right all along.
Well, it's not like John Lynch is an idiot either, by the way, or Kyle Shanahan, but it's like as long as you're winning, leave Jimmy in there. He won playoff games last year. I watched the Dallas game until Trey's ready. Why rush him? But anyways, Jim, this has been awesome, my dude. Keep in touch and keep being you.
Rod, to you and everyone, in case I miss it, happy holidays and all the best.
How about that?
Thanks, man. We better talk before that, but happy holidays.
Yeah, absolutely.
Canada's foremost NFL insider, Jim Clubberlang, joining us from the Big Smoke, Hogtown, T-Dot. We've got viewer takeover coming up next. We'll answer what's left of your questions. It is the RP show, and you are consuming on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, and WQEE 99.1 FM.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital GMC. Reserve your brand new truck or SUV today. Check out our great selection of in-stock GM-certified pre-owned trucks. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big, and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital GMC, making back to busy easy.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall. Or you might hit your head and cause a lifelong injury. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with The Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
It is the Overtime segment brought to you by the Four Seasons Sports Palace and the Greek Freak over there, your home of the UFC and the National Football League. I don't know where Kevin the Medium went, our guy Kevin the Medium. Sometimes he'll tell me that, well, I haven't heard from him for a while on the feed here. He says that there's random spirits and souls around you, Rod. I got to clear them out of there for you. They cause internet problems, and I've had Wi-Fi problems. But we're almost done, Kevin, so I don't think you need to clear them now. We good. Boy, did people perk up when the name Connor Bedard came up. It's unbelievable, man, what this kid means to the hockey community and the world. I feel like we got to go to the draft, Moose. We got to be there in Nashville. It's been a while since we've been there together. Sports update on this Monday. In the NHL tonight, the Edmonton Oilers welcome Matthew Tkachuk and the Florida Panthers. A former Calgary Flame, but Tkachuk is back in Alberta for the first time since being traded to Florida in the offseason. He's set to make his Calgary homecoming on Tuesday. I'll be talking about the Panthers tonight, about tonight's game tomorrow morning on Sirius XM NHL Radio, 10:15 a.m. Eastern with Scott Laughlin. Thank you, Scott, for the invite. Now I got to stay up and watch the game. Going to be a late one. Elsewhere tonight, the Toronto Maple Leafs close a 4-game road trip in Detroit. The Western Hockey League announced official Jeff Ingram has been honored with the WHL Milestone Award. Ingram was recognized in a special ceremony prior to Sunday's game between the Portland Winterhawks and Vancouver Giants. The Langley BC product skated in his first WHL regular season game in 09-10, has worked more than 650 regular season games alongside 99 playoff games. Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers will undergo more medical tests today to determine the severity of a rib injury that forced him out of last night's 40-33 loss to Philly. Green Bay coach Matt LaFleur said it's too early to determine if the reigning NFL MVP will be healthy enough to play Sunday against Chicago. This sports update for Ballers Rec Room, located in the heart of the Dudney Strip, for the Tap Brewhouse and drive-through liquor store, and for Red Bull Canada, Red Bull gives you wings. I had those Wi-Fi problems, so I restarted my computer, and by so doing, got out of the text messages from the 902 line. So if you can give me a second, I'll load them back up again. It's 2022. They come in via computer, if you can believe. The text messages. Last minute of play in the RP show. Before I go for lunch with my buddy Chris from Albany, who owes me. David is watching Winnipeg. Hi, Rod and Moose. I'm a huge Winnipeg Jets fan. Pump the brakes on the Stanley Cup parade. This team still makes too many mistakes. They're lucky that Hellebuyck is playing at a Vezina level. With average goaltending, they would definitely be below 500. Still need to clean up their D-zone play. Right on all accounts, but they still spanked Chicago last night 7-2, and they're hot. Jeff in Oregon says, WHL Talk hooked me on this show. First time I was flipping through the channels and said to myself, is this guy really talking about the WHL? Yes, he really is. It's really his favorite league. Zoom. Can you hear? See you tomorrow. Noon Eastern. Time for some PDQ chicken.
How about that?
Who has more fun than us?
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. Approved. Done deal. Hell yes. So, good one, Rod. Bob's your uncle.